Okay, so now we're going to talk about the posterior pituitary. Okay, so this right here is my post pit. I just didn't draw on the anterior pituitary side. So this is post pit, diagrammatic. Okay, this is the hypothalamus up here. All right, so this is the infundibulum. Infundibulum. All right, so in the hypothalamus, we know that there are nuclei there that have neurons that have axons that will extend down into the posterior pituitary. And they extend down there through the hypophyseal tract. So the hypothalamic hypophyseal tract, whatever. So this area here. The first nucleus here in blue is called the Supraoptic Nucleus. Supraoptic. Nucleus. The supraoptic nucleus makes ADH. So ADH is anti-diuretic hormone. It's also called vasopressin. It's another name of it. Okay, so antidiuretic hormone is going to be sent down the axon through the hypothalamic hypophyseal tract here, and it is going to be stored in the axon terminals here. Okay, so what stimulates ADH? So what stimulates the hypothalamus to secrete or tell the posterior pituitary to secrete antidiuretic hormone? So there's a couple of things that stimulate that. All right, the first one is low blood pressure. Okay, ADH increases blood pressure. It increases blood pressure by basically targeting the kidneys to retain water. So diuretic would mean to get rid of water. So anti-diuretic means to retain water. Okay, so it basically targets the kidneys to do that. That will increase blood pressure because it will increase blood volume. So a decrease in blood volume will also stimulate ADH. An increase in plasma osmolarity will also stimulate ADH. So in the hypothalamus, there are receptors called osmoreceptors, and those respond to changes in plasma osmolarity. Osmolarity just means the amount of solutes that are in the plasma as compared to the fluid that's in the plasma. And the more stuff that's in there, the more solutes that are in there, that means the less fluid is in there. So that means that blood volume would be down. So that increase in osmolarity will stimulate ADH. Pain also will stimulate ADH. Okay, so those are the things that actually cause the hypothalamus to tell posterior pituitary to secrete ADH. What kind of things inhibit it? Okay, well, so what inhibits ADH? Well, a decrease in plasma osmolarity. So if there's more fluid and less solutes, that's going to inhibit ADH. Increased blood pressure and increased blood volume are also going to inhibit ADH. So just the opposite of what we put in there before. Okay. Another thing that will inhibit ADH is alcohol. That's why when you drink a lot, you start to go to the bathroom, you start to go through diuresis, you start, peeing a lot. And that's why the next morning you're dehydrated and you have a big headache and a big hangover. So alcohol inhibits ADH. Okay. This next nucleus is called the paraventricular nucleus. So paraventricular nucleus. And the paraventricular nucleus makes oxytocin. So oxytocin is made in the paraventricular nucleus. When it's time for the hypothalamus says, oh, we need oxytocin, then it releases it from those axon terminals into the blood. And I'll go ahead and put a little blood vessel so you can see we're going into the blood system here. Okay, so what does oxytocin do? So what stimulates oxytocin? Well, birth, right? So labor. Oxytocin stimulates labor contractions. So when it's time for baby to come and baby starts pressing his head against the cervix, that stimulates hypothalamus to secrete oxytocin to cause those contractions of the uterus. Okay. Suckling. So suckling of the baby causes oxytocin to be released because oxytocin causes what's referred to as letdown. So letdown is where the milk comes down into the ducts there so that baby can be fed, and the suckling causes the secretion of oxytocin that will target those mammary glands there. It also plays a role in ejaculation. Okay, so oxytocin, again, made in the paraventricular nucleus, secreted by the posterior pituitary. Those are the two hormones that are secreted by post-pit. Again, those hormones are secreted due to the stimulation from the hypothalamus. Okay, the hypothalamus will cause or tell posterior pituitary to secrete those hormones into the blood. Okay, so pretty simple as far as the posterior pituitary. Not much going on, not much to remember for that. Okay, so the next video we're going to talk about the anterior pituitary, which is a little more involved.